NIS says it restored the data deleted by a former employee who committed suicide this month, concluding there was no surveillance on South Korean citizens. The government will tackle youth unemployment, announcing measures to create 200,000 new jobs for Korean youths in the public and civic sectors. And iconic Hallyu star Bae Yong-joon and actress Park Soo-jin were married in a private ceremony on Monday. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Tuesday, July 28th. I'm Luke Clary. The State Intelligence Agency has advised Parliament that it restored 51 counts of data deleted by one of its former employees before his suicide. According to the agency's findings, all data was experimental or North Korea related, concluding that there was no surveillance on South Korean citizens whatsoever.
Byung-ho, head of the National Intelligence Service, spoke before the National Assembly Intelligence Committee and released results of restored data that were deleted by a former NIS employee before he committed suicide. Lee said the late employee deleted a total of 51 data between 1 and 3 a.m. on the night before he died. The NIS chief said that of this total, 10 were related to North Korea and terrorism surveillance, and 31 were for experimental purposes at home. He said the rest of the data were cases of hacking failures.
100% 복원을 했고, 복원해서 보니까 국내 사찰은 전혀 없었다. 지금까지 의혹이 제기된 것에 대해서는 100% 다 소명이 됐습니다.
The ruling party said Lee's explanation was credible, but the opposition camp criticized the spy agency for just asking to be trusted.
아무런 근거는 없고 믿어달라고. 실시간 도청도 안 된다. 믿어달라. 지금 거의 저 안이 교회예요, 교회.
The Assembly Intelligence Committee will first hold a meeting between NIS working-level officials and civic experts recommended by rival parties. It will also draft measures should additional allegations emerge.
The arrest warrant for former POSCO Engineering and Construction Vice Chairman Chung Donghua has been dismissed yet again. Chung is charged with his involvement in the creation of slush funds amounting to $8 million. And while prosecutors investigating the case plan to arrest Chung to grill him over the allegation, their plan has hit yet another snag.
Another arrest warrant that prosecutors had requested for former POSCO Engineering and Construction Vice Chairman Chung Donghua after conducting a corroborative investigation has been rejected. When asked to comment on the rejection of his arrest warrants in succession in front of the prosecutor's office, Chung only complained of fatigue and declined to give any other comment.
피곤합니다.
Chung has been charged with inflicting millions of dollars in losses to POSCO Engineering and Construction while serving as its CEO by providing benefits to Dongyang Construction, one of POSCO's partner companies, during plant construction in Indonesia. But the court rejected the latest arrest warrant, citing difficulty in accepting the necessity and legal grounds for arresting Chung based on the additional charges against him and the results of the corroborative investigation. As a result, prosecutors' plans to expand the probe to other former POSCO executives after taking Chung under arrest will inevitably hit setbacks.
The government is setting out to tackle youth unemployment, and it has announced a comprehensive set of measures to create 200,000 new jobs for Korean youths in the public and civic sectors.
Almost 1.2 million young Koreans are idling away because they don't have jobs. Youth unemployment is no longer solely an economic issue, but a national task. The economy-related and education ministries have gathered together for a meeting. To start off, they agreed to create 40,000 jobs in the public sector. The private sector will also join in and provide 160,000 job opportunities. Bold tax breaks and fiscal support will also follow.
직업 훈련을 확대하고 일, 학습, 경영제에 참여하는 기업을 늘려
청년들에게 일자리 기회를 늘려줄 것입니다.
Also, considering that the employment age is getting older, the age bracket for youths will be raised from the current 29 to 34 years old under a special law to expand benefits. Over the long term, the government will focus policy measures on easing the structural imbalance between the supply and demand of jobs. Overseas employment in promising sectors will also be doubled annually to 10,000 jobs.
Driving under the influence is as dangerous as road rage. One drunk driver broke the windows of a taxi cab just because it was blocking his way, while another refused a sobriety test and kept driving with a police officer hanging onto his car. Here's more.
A truck crosses the median and runs straight toward a head-on collision with an oncoming taxi. Luckily, no collision occurred because the taxi driver applied the brakes immediately, but the truck keeps moving as if trying to hit the taxi. The driver of the truck then staggers out from behind the wheel with a deadly weapon in his hand. The 58-year-old truck driver, surnamed Choi, broke the taxi's passenger seat window with a 30-centimeter-long weapon and even threatened the passenger. Choi's blood alcohol level was found to be at 0.184%, high enough to revoke his license. A wrong-way driver of a passenger car zigzags through traffic. The driver proceeded for about 150 meters with a police officer hanging on to his car and came to a halt only after hitting 3 other vehicles. The 48-year-old police officer, a lieutenant surnamed Kim, sustained serious injuries. The incident occurred after the officer tried to wake up the 39-year-old driver, surnamed Son, who fell asleep in his car at a traffic light. Police have requested a blood test, believing that Son, whose license had already been revoked for DUI, was driving under the influence yet again.
It's obvious that a firefighter's main job should be fighting fires. But in Korea, firemen are called upon to open a locked door every 15 minutes. Take a look.
This is a fire station in downtown Seoul. When the men are called to duty, they rush to the site at full speed. But in about 1 out of 10 cases, the emergency call is for locked doors.
이제 체력 소모도 되고, 이제 그 시간도 많이 뺏기고, 또 그 타임에 다른 큰 사고가 나면 대응하지 못하는 경우도 있거든요. 그런 부분에 대해서는 좀 안타깝죠.
Last year, firemen were dispatched to open locked doors some 37,000 times nationwide. That's about once every 15 minutes. Door-related requests took up 8% of the total calls received by fire stations, not much different from fire-related calls at 11% and traffic accidents at 10%. Also, over the past 5 years, some 80,000 calls turned out to be prank calls or false reports, but fines were handed out in only 35 cases.
In the next part of the KBS travel series, we're taking you to Kunsan, which is home to numerous historic relics.
The port of Kunsan opened in 1899. During the Japanese colonial occupation, it was a site of Korea's painful history, as the Japanese colonists used the port to ship locally grown rice to Japan. Kunsan was home to the Joseon Bank, which was founded to ship rice and sell land by force, and the Kunsan branch of the Nagasaki 18th Bank. More than a century later, these banks have been transformed into a museum and an art gallery.
처음에 방학 숙제 때문에 왔는데 그 근대 역사 박물관에 와서 역사도 알아보니까 저희 조상들이 얼마나 고통을 느꼈는지 잘 알게 되었고.
Dongguk Temple has a sharp hip and gable roof. Unlike other Korean temples, its roof eaves are not decorated because it was built in the architectural style of Japan's Edo period. This Japanese-style wooden house used to be a dry goods store, during the Japanese colonial rule, built by a Japanese merchant named Hirotsu. It has been preserved to this day as a vestige of Korea's tragic history. A modern cultural city and a site of colonial history, Kunsan is drawing attention lately for helping visitors to learn about their painful history and realize the preciousness of their home country.
The monsoon rain that soaked the central part of Korea last week was a godsend for rafting businesses. The rainstorm has increased the volume of river water, which subsequently attracted a large number of vacationers and rafters.
The Narin Stream in Inje, Gangwon Province is known as a spectacular whitewater rafting site. Rafters on a rubber boat brave rough river currents to enjoy the thrilling adventure. The boat crashes into a boulder, and the riders are drenched in water. But they're all smiling and laughing.
오늘 동호회 사람들하고 같이 휴무를 맞춰서 내리천에 왔는데요. 물 수량도 풍부하고 날씨도 때마침 되게 좋아서 너무 재밌었고요.
Rafting businesses in the area were hit hard by the lack of water caused by the prolonged drought. But the recent torrential rain increased the volume of water in the river and re-energized the industry. With the summer vacation period underway, the Narin Stream is seeing an average of some 2,000 visitors per day on weekdays and more than 10,000 on weekends or holidays. This river rafting site, which had been dried up by the long drought, heartily welcomed the rain and the subsequent crowd of tourists looking to enjoy their vacation with this exciting sport.
Assassination, a historical adventure film about a group of Korean freedom fighters' plan to assassinate a traitor in the 1930s, has drawn more than 3 million moviegoers in the first week of its release. Plus, and this is the big news, iconic Hallyu star Byung-ho and actress Park Soo-jin were married in an exceedingly private ceremony.
Actor Byung-ho and actress Park Soo-jin tied the knot Monday evening at a 5-star hotel in Seoul. Bae wrote on his SNS account that he would do his best to fulfill his role as the head of a household. Although the wedding ceremony was held behind closed doors, nearly 200 of his fans from overseas visited the hotel to congratulate him. Domestic blockbuster Assassination has sold 3.37 million tickets in just 5 days since its release. Although the film deals with a serious topic, the fight for independence, great acting by the leading cast of Chun Ji-hyun, Lee Jung-jae, and Ha Jung-woo, and director Choi Dong-hoon's engaging storytelling have won a record number of moviegoers. Korean hip-hop artist Tableau and rising American rapper Joey Badass are teaming up to release a single album. Joey Badass, who was born in 1995 and rose to stardom in 2012, will work together with Tableau on a global hip-hop project.
Cold soup is a popular menu item for mothers in the summer as it's easy to make with simple ingredients in a fairly short amount of time. Today, we introduce some unique varieties of cold soup for the sizzling summer. The first cold soup is made with the seaweed called fusiform, known as the herb of eternal youth of the sea. In Korean, it's called tot.
톳은 해조류의 모든 영양 성분을 다 갖고 있을 정도로 아주 좋은 영양식품입니다. 특히 섬유소도 풍부하게 있고요. 그다음에 비타민, 칼슘, 또 칼륨, 철분 같은 것들이 풍부히 들어있게 되겠고요.
First, rinse the seaweed in cold water to remove the excess saltiness. Then dunk the seaweed in hot, boiling water briefly to maintain its texture. Once boiled, give it another cold bath to make it chewier. Then season the seaweed with a spoonful of the bean paste doenjang. Lastly, sprinkle some chives and red pepper slices on the tot bean paste cold soup as garnish, and it's all ready. This time, we'll use ripe kimchi to make the cold soup. Kimchi is the staple Korean cabbage side dish. First, rinse the kimchi in running water. Then remove the remaining moisture and chop it up. You'll use the kimchi liquid for seasoning. You can use water and the kimchi juice in a ratio of 1:1. Then drop the kimchi into the soup. Also slice in some bean curd, which is a softer type of tofu, in bite-sized chunks. And here we have a ripe kimchi bean curd cold soup.
두부는 묵은지에는 부족한 단백질이 풍부하기 때문에 궁합이 매우 좋습니다. 소화를 도와주는 효능이 더욱더 증가될 수 있습니다.
Our third cold soup of the day is a more savory type made with bean sprouts and chicken breast. Blanch the bean sprouts in hot water and shock them in ice water afterwards for a crunchy texture. Then tear up the chicken breast meat, the go-to protein for those watching their weight. Then mix in sugar, vinegar, mustard, and soy sauce, all in spoonfuls. The lean chicken breast cold soup is complete with some garnish of bean sprouts, shredded chicken, and colorful bell pepper slices.
냉국은 차기 때문에 너무 재료까지 차게 되면 몸속을 차게 만들 수 있는데 이 파프리카, 닭고기 모두 다 따뜻한 성질이기 때문에 너무 몸을 차지 않게 도와줄 수 있습니다.
Cold soups are easy to make with ingredients you can easily find in your kitchen. Don't lose your appetite and also beat the heat with endless varieties of cold soups. Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.